Welcome to Crafts 101, the continuation of our lecture series, and today we're going to have some guests from the classroom that are going to illustrate the techniques and strategies that can be used in an actual game. I have here on my right Chris, and I have across from me Ted. They are going to participate in this demonstration of the various strategies that we have, and I am Dr. Michael Skaff, and these are some of my products that all of these lectures and all of these techniques can be found in my books and my DVD, and can be found online or on my website at michaelscaffphd.com. Today we're going to illustrate several different playing techniques. Each of these players are starting out with a basic $100 in chips. The red chips are typically the $5 chips, and the white chips are typically the dollar chips. And we're also going to do something a little more innovative today, and that is that rather than have the players throw the dice, which is what typically you see, we're going to use the computer. And the computer is going to be our worst case situation. The computer actually will produce random rolls, which means it will probably be the worst case that you will ever encounter at an actual game in a casino. So we'll use that as our basis rather than actually throwing the dice. If you're interested in techniques for improving how to handle the dice and how to throw them, look at one of my earlier lectures on playing craps and dealing with the dice. I think you can find that on YouTube. There is a series of these lectures out there, and this one today will be the next one in line. So to begin with, then, we are going to start out with a basic choice that a player has to have when he arrives at the table. And that is that does the player actually play with the shooter or the person throwing the dice, or does the player play against? And there is almost a 50-50 choice between doing it with or against. You'll notice on the table where it says don't pass, it has these little double sixes, which means that to balance the ledger so that it is really not 50-50, you do not win or lose on a 2 sixes if you are playing on the so-called don't side. There are two types of players. There are the pass line players and the come players who play with the shooter. And what does that mean? That means that you will win if a 7 or 11 comes up on the first roll, and you will lose if a 2, 3, or 12 comes up on the first roll. If you're playing the don't side, then you are saying just the reverse. If a 7 or 11 comes up on the first roll, you lose. And if a 2, 3 comes up, you win, but you don't on the 12. Okay, so to illustrate this, to see whether there is one way or the other is better, we're going to assume that the game is starting fresh, and you will know that because you'll see that the on disc will say off. If the on-off disc is off, that means the game is just starting. Okay, so we will make an assumption that the game is just starting, and so we're going to have Chris play with the shooter, which is the pass line, and we'll have Ted play the don't side. Okay, so why don't you gentlemen place we're going to play $10 minimums here. Let's put $10 in, and your first bet would be then Chris would be on the pass line, Ted will be on the don't pass line. And so we'll just see what happens here if we roll the dice using the computer, and we'll see how you do. And let's see what comes up first. We got a 6. So now that means that in this case 6, so now you'll see that what will happen is we put the on disc over the 6, which says that is the point. For the pass line player, he has to have a 6 come up before a 7 in order for him to win this bet. For the don't player, you want a 7 to come up before a 6. Okay, it's just the reverse. So let's see what happens. So we're going to continue to do this, and so we've got then the next roll is an 8. Now an 8 in this case, since there are no other bets out here, nobody wins, nobody loses. And remember, one of the more important things about playing the game is that time is on your side. The more time you can play without putting money out or losing money, you are ahead. because the casino isn't taking your money. So the 8 doesn't hurt you. Okay, so we'll roll the dice again using the computer. And what do we get? We got a 7. So that means, therefore, Chris loses his $10 because a 7 came up, and Ted wins his $10. So that they will put the money out. Now let me make a point here. They'll lay the money down here on the table. It is your responsibility to pick that up, because if you don't and you go on to the next roll of the dice, they'll assume that's a bet. So make sure you pick up your money, take it off the table, both. Now you're going to play this again, so just leave that. You put your $10 back out. Okay, so we're going to now go to the next roll of the dice. Again, there's no guarantees of what this is going to do. Okay, we got a 9. So now the 9 is the point. This will always sit above the number where it's the point. Okay, nothing else happens at this point.
No, but can I play the 8 and the 6?
Yeah, you can, but we're going to do that a little bit later. Let's just hold off on that, just to illustrate this, which side of the ledger you want to play on. Okay, we got a 4. Nothing happens because your interest is getting a 9. Your interest is not getting a 9, getting a 7. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Okay, we got a 7 again. Okay, so our friend Ted over here is going to win $10, and Chris, unfortunately, is going to lose $10. Okay, so let's bet it again. Again, there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees for when the 7s are going to come up. Again, let me make a point about the 7s. 7s come up 1 out of every 6 times in the long run. But that doesn't mean they can't come up 2, 3 times in a row. And these dice have no memory. They don't know what you rolled last, whether it was a 7 or not a 7. It's just likely that 7s are going to appear frequently. That's why a lot of people play the don't side, because they get paid on the 7. There is a very well-known gambler by the name of John Patrick who believes that he only plays the don't side because he says, I'm never going to have a 7 beat me. And of course, you never lose on a 7 if you're playing the don't side. Whereas if you're on this side, but if all of a sudden the numbers start coming up, you know, you might really do something with that. Let's try it again. Let's see what we have here. Again, this is random. Now I have an 11. Now this is not the first roll because we had the 9 as our point. If it had been the first roll, he would have won, you would have lost. Okay. Okay? Okay, so let's keep doing this. We got 9 is the point that we want. And we want to see if we get a 9. Okay, I got a 5. In this case, there are no other bets. Now other people could be winning, you know, if they had numbers, like Chris said, if they had bet on this. Okay, I got a 6. Again, there are no 6s. Neither of you win or lose. Okay. So let's try it again until we see if what cycle goes on. Now we got an 8. And again, nobody's betting the 8. Now he wishes, because he said he wanted to have a 6 and an 8, which would have been nice, but he didn't have it this time. So we'll play this out on this choice between the one side or the other. And then we got a 6 again. Again, nobody wins or loses in this case. Okay, so now you can see the sequence could be anything. Now we got a 9. Aha. 9 comes up, so therefore you're going to win, okay, because you have that, but you're going to lose. Okay, so at this point you see the choice between whether you should do one or the other. Now, why don't people play the don't side more often? Well, they don't play the don't side because they're uncomfortable with it. Everybody at the table is trying to get no 7s, and you as a don't player are going to want 7, so that you're really going against the tide. It's like you're rowing your boat in the opposite direction from everybody else. Okay, now the only introduction of which direction, I think at this point, let me just comment that again, more detail and more information can be found in my books and in my DVD. So if you're interested in some of these ideas and seeing these things spelled out in a little more detail, please go to my resources.